Many couples think that they are fighting about money, but money is really the real issue.
Money exposes deeper things: trust, honesty, safety. It's never really about money, is it?
Because money is not just money.
Welcome to another episode of the Mindset Talk. It's been a good journey thus far, and welcome to our YouTube subscribers, those who've been following us on TikTok. Big shout out to you for your comments and engagements. We've expanded into Spotify, so we want to welcome our listeners on Spotify who cannot view us, but who's been enjoying this, and so we want to thank you. And if you've been enjoying the content that we've shared, remember it's just our journey that we've shared so far. Please like, subscribe, share if you feel that it can impact someone's life, if it can save a marriage, because that's our mission, to make an impact one marriage at a time. So today we're going to embark on talking about a very touchy subject. Today we want to talk about money. Money, 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 money.
We didn't realize that.
Money, what is it really about? It's just a tool, that's what it's supposed to be. I remember the scripture that I learned years ago. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. Not money. Money is never the problem. It is us as human beings who's using that tool. And our own evil intentions leads to greed, deception, and all those things. But come and join us on this journey as we talk about how we started out 24 years ago.
Money is definitely one of the most common reasons for tension in marriage. Not because we don't love each other, but because we have money behaviors that have been shaped long before we even started a joint or a bank account together or a family together. Our relationship with money and how we've brought that into marriage can be the reason there's tension in marriage. Money definitely touches every aspect of our lives. It's food, it's clothing, it's security, it's children, it's rest, it's everything.
Yep. And when disagreements come in, like we said, it's not necessarily about the source called money or the tool. It's about the expectations that we had coming into this marriage. How do I manage my finances? And if we haven't spoken about it upfront, it results in tension, disagreements, arguments, because we now have to share and account
To each other.
to each other. Be accountable comes in again to each other for the use of this tool called money.
Yeah, I'm thinking about a video we just watched last night where a young lady was talking to an audience and she was saying that before she even considers any long-term relationship with any guy, she wants to know what his ITC record looks like. She wants to see bank statements. She wants to know how he manages his money. And when we got married 24 years ago, that was not even a consideration.
Look, the world we were living in back then looked very different, was very different. We were very ignorant, I have to be honest, because we were not exposed to the technology that we are in today, or exposed to today, right? Our incomes, minimum. We scraped through every month. I remember our first
Month of
couple of
marriage.
years, or in fact our first month of marriage, we we were so unprepared that we lived and ate our wedding cake for a few weeks. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Wedding cake for breakfast, lunch, and supper.
Yes.
That's how ill prepared we were after the wedding.
Yes, and it's because of preparation, right? It's because of the exposure to information that the world is exposed to now. People who are getting married are exposed to different things, more educated. They get married for purpose. We got married for love. We were just happy to be together.
Yeah.
The how was never discussed.
Yeah.
And so it was a shocker when we did shopping for the first time. And for our viewers, yeah, ignorance. What do they say? Ignorance is bliss. We probably threw away. Who's ever gotten jam that went off? Or who has ever thrown away 2 trays of eggs
Because they
of
went off.
ignorance? Right? We went out shopping and had everything and we didn't know how to take care of it because we were ignorant.
Yeah.
We didn't know.
Yeah. So I think we were very wasteful in the beginning. What was really, really, really interesting is that we would spend about 500 Rand a month on groceries back then.
For everything.
Everything, including meat, right? So we were like, hey, this is the life. But it was expensive. 500 Rand at the time felt expensive for us. But that's how we managed and we lived on that.
And we didn't waste because we bought unnecessary stuff. We didn't know how to take care of the things that we bought. Therefore, it went off.
Yeah.
Just before you try and judge us.
So we want to talk about the money mindsets that we came into marriage with. Okay, so you have to understand our family dynamics was different. I came from a family that was very thrifty in terms of how we spent money. Okay, so my money behaviors was really about not spending a lot of money. When I started working, I didn't have to pay boarding or rent to my parents. I still lived at home. And so the money that I earned, I basically just kept it because having money felt safe to me and spending it felt risky. And I didn't like the feeling of losing what I had worked hard for on unnecessary things. So my coping mechanism when it came to earning money was to keep it for as long as I possibly could and only spent it on essential things. And when I came into marriage, I had hoped that this was how we were going to be doing things together, but you had a different upbringing and mindset with money.
My approach to money was spend it. Before you judge me. I come from a big family. Look, when I was a teenager, my parents were pensioners. Just to put it into perspective, right? Going through high school, my parents didn't work. I've got no idea how they paid school fees. Maybe there's still outstanding school fees to be paid. Who knows? But we got through school. I've got no idea how there was a meal on the table because my parents, even though they were pensioners, they didn't earn a pension. So I've got no idea where the provision came from, but I can tell you one thing for certain. I had a mother of faith who believed and trusted God for provision, and God provided. Right? But when I finished school, we were told that we have to start working. So my objective out of school was get a job. And because my matric year I had to hustle to get a suit for my banquet, some shoes to borrow from my brothers just so that I can go to my matric banquet. After that, I wanted to be liberated, and so I got a job. And so earning a salary was liberating. as little as it was, because it was extremely little. But with that, I was required to pay either rent or boarding is what it was called. I had to see to my own transport. I had to see to myself, basically, buying my own clothes, toiletries, whatever I need. And so as a result, money just kept going. And because the money was so little, I ended up opening up accounts so that I can get the clothes that I want and pay it off. Completely different approach to where you came from.
Yeah, because I've never had a clothing account a day in my life.
Yep.
I've never needed to have an account because I always felt like if I can't pay for it cash, I'm not going to buy it.
Yes.
And you were like, well, I don't have all the cash now. I'll open the account and I'll pay it off.
Yes.
As long as we were both responsible.
You can see where this is going, right? And how interesting our journey became within the first year of marriage.
Marriage brings these two worlds and these stories together, whether we're ready for it or not. And suddenly, there's joint decisions that needs to be made about money, no longer an individual journey.
And if you remember from our first episode, I was exposed due to my selfishness. That's what marriage exposed. So in the decision making, our first purchase of a car, I was so self-centered and self-absorbed, or is absorbed the right word, that I made the decision. Never mind your feelings, your opinion, what you think. So in my mind, I'm still the individual. I can still spend my money the way I want to, and not considering that we are now in a partnership. And so my very first decision was detrimental in my marriage, because now we're making a decision, a money decision, a big money decision, that didn't just have an effect at that moment, but an ongoing ripple effect.
Yeah. It did have an impact for sure, because I think at that time I also was very insecure about my decision making. Remember, and now that we are in a union, and having this belief that your husband is the head of the home, therefore he has liberty to make decisions, and whatever the decision is, you must be submissive and just support. Okay, so that was the position I took. And yes, maybe some of the financial decisions that we made could have been avoided if I felt that my voice must be heard more and I can speak up against certain decisions. But at the time, we just didn't do that.
Yeah, and I said it's important to make it known that our upbringing was very different. The home that I come from, my father worked, my mother was at home. He was the money man, he was the provider. And automatically he's the one making the decision. So that's the exposure that I had. In the absence of any other training, that would be the approach that I automatically take when I step into my own marriage. Was it right? No. Did we learn? Took us a long time.
Yeah.
But we're here now, and we're sharing what we've learned over the years, because though it impacted us, I thank God that it never broke us or tore us apart.
Yeah. So that's where the money mindsets come from when we enter into marriage. And we have to identify very quickly, are our mindsets about money the same? Do we need to relearn certain things? And do we need to find our own new way of managing money?
And what's more important? The money you have, or the person that you're partnering with? Because remember, the money is just a tool. The education is just a tool. It's a means to an end. The person that you're partnering with is the person you become one with. And so we ought to build this new home together. Join hands put our differences aside and form a new reality. For many people, money represents safety, worth, value, power, and control. Sad though that people with a lot of money still commit suicide. So you could have the tool, just don't let it control you. But that's what it represents.
I think because money represents safety sometimes, and when that safety feels threatened, it brings conflict into the marriage.
Yeah.
So when there are money concerns or money issues, the conflict builds. I remember we were at a marriage seminar once, and it was mentioned that there are three main killers in marriage. Three main reasons people get divorced. Number one, communication. Number two is sex. And number three is finances. So money is definitely a reason many people can get divorced. And if that money conversation brings conflict and it feels threatened in some way, we are going to have a challenge.
The Bible says in Amos chapter 3 verses 3, how can two walk together except they be in agreement? So agreement represents joint understanding, going in the same direction, having the same mind. And unity means we share the same purpose. We walk in the same direction. Do we always agree? No. We agree to disagree. But we unite because it is more important to walk in unity than to be right.
So in the past, we would make financial decisions independently, and that was not helpful to our marriage. Where the turning point came when we learned how to have conversations about what we intended to spend money on before we spent it.
And we had to make some hard decisions in life. We want to talk about a specific time and period in our lives where we had to make some serious decisions.
Yeah, talking about making the decisions beforehand. Okay, so we had to learn from our mistakes. So purchases of vehicles particularly loves a car, loves a vehicle, and those big purchases were not always the best decisions for us. And that left us in predicaments where we needed to make a decision about the home that we had. Could we still afford to live in that home? And many times, at least on two occasions, we decided we were going to sell our home so that we don't fall into any kind of trouble. And those were joint decisions. So all of our decisions at some point became joint decisions because it was now for the family. Decisions that we are making together as a unit for the best for our family going forward. And we've learned over the years that now this is how we approach financial decisions. Not independently, but as a couple.
Yeah. And having to lose your home, in fact having to sell your house at a loss, is an expensive lesson to learn. Having to pack up and live with your parents again, it's a humiliating lesson to learn, where you have to humble yourself until you get back onto your feet. But we had to learn. We had to learn to do better, make better decisions, and grow together.
We're better now.
We are better now. We're not perfect.
It took a
We're
long
not
time to
perfect.
get there.
It took a long time to get here. We're not, definitely not perfect, right? We still have decisions that you like, did I have to? Why am I in this position again? And that's insanity, right? When you do the same thing over and over again and you expect different results. We have to learn at some point. Two is better than one.
We've had to learn that financial unity means communication, and that way we don't have any assumptions about how the other person feels about the financial decision. We have to ask each other, how do you feel about this? Does this bring any fear? What triggers you about this financial choice that we are making? Do you think that we are agreeing? Do we need to pause a bit? Those are conversations that you have as you reach a level of maturity about making decisions, not in haste, but together.
And I think what's important is leaving a legacy, leaving money principles for your children
To
follow, so they don't get to repeat our mistakes. That they become smarter, make smarter decisions, and live a better financial life.
Yeah. We've definitely been very intentional about talking to our kids about money. We've been very transparent with them about the money decisions that we've made.
Yep.
The good, the bad, and the ugly, we've shared with our goals, because we want them to understand that we've made the mistakes so that they don't need to make them again.
Yeah.
And we've also started to teach them principles that we've never knew or
Yes.
we've never known,
Yeah.
We learned that much later in our adult years. So as they entering into this adult world, we've already set strong financial foundations for them. So hopefully when they enter into their marriages, they can carry that forward and not make or repeat mistakes of our past.
And it's important to be transparent. I remember when my daughter went to university and now I have to manage her own account and suddenly got exposed to our income. We had to say, hold on, stop the bus. That top figure is not the net figure. That top figure that you see, half of it, this guy called SARS takes it. So
Yeah.
just hold your horses. But we make them aware of our spend and how and what you prioritize and how important it is to plan
Yeah.
and not to just in the spur of the moment make decisions that's going to be detrimental. You stay true, honest to the things that you are responsible for, responding to your ability and making sure that you are wise financially.
And now we value those conversations where they come to us and they want to bounce things off of us, before they make a financial decision. And that is a good thing, because we hope that when they get into marriage, that they'll do the exact same thing with their spouses. That it's a communication. Let's first assess, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? What does this bring up in terms of thoughts and emotions? Because money is emotional too.
Yes.
So we want to ensure that those new principles are carried forward with our kids.
So this week, don't start with numbers. Start by asking your spouse, what does money represent to you? You may be in a position where you are entering into marriage. Again, you may be married already. You might resonate with some of the things that we are sharing, and maybe in your journey you haven't mastered. Start with wanting. Start with being transparent. Start with identifying your weakness. I know my weakness is spending. And so I come alongside her to strengthen me in that area. I know she's terrified of spending. So I come alongside and make sure.
And help me spend.
Take care of yourself also. Because we live today, tomorrow we're not here, and all that money is going to be spent by someone else.
No. That's a big joke again. Let me also add here that we need to ask each other about our money behaviors.
Yep.
Where do we learn these things? Because now that I'm working in a financial institution, I've learned so many new financial management principles. Say, like we mentioned earlier in the episode, we are now exposed to so much more through the platforms and the mediums that we have access to. So for me, working in a financial institution, I understand money principles better. So have those conversations about what your partner knows now and understands about money now.
Yes.
Right? So yeah, I like this challenge. So we want to know what you are responding to when it comes to this challenge with your partner.
And remember, money is a tool. The love of money is the root of all evil.
If money conversations still feel tense and uncomfortable for you, maybe you want to start with other conversations. And we've created a 7-day prayer guide for couples to help strengthen your relationship and your conversations one prayer at a time. The link is in our bio or the description, and you can go and find this guide that you can use for the next 7 days to help you and your partner.
Money is never just money. It tells a story. And marriage helps us rewrite that story.
So as we close today, remember that marriage is learned and not mastered. And coming together is part of that learning.